Hey guys, one more time, another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday morning. Hope everyone's okay. Hope everyone's looking forward to a good weekend. Obviously, we are going to be doing the weekend preview for the Southampton game on Sunday, 2 o'clock, if I'm correct. I'll double check that in a second. But obviously, we will talk about last night's game. We will talk about the Chelsea defeat. God, the fallout from this game has just been insane. So, we will talk about that. Obviously, I will be real with you. There's probably not a lot of great stuff to come out of that game. There's a couple of positives that I did think about, but for the most part, there really isn't much to hold on to for that game. We'll hopefully be a lot more positive talking about Southampton. So don't worry, we will get there. All right. So, yesterday's game 1-0 defeat away to Chelsea, and a game where lackluster, timid, scared, maybe even. Some of those players looked absolutely frightened out there yesterday. A lot of my issues is we get into a great position and it's like, oh, turn back, pass backwards, because I'm scared if I run at this player and I lose the ball, I'm going to get pelters. I thought, when you do look at the stats, if you didn't watch the game, for example, if you do look at the stats, you probably sit there and go, God, we're in this game, because the stats do actually ironically look like we were in this game. Decent amount of possession. I think we only had like a handful of shots less than them, but actually, if you watch the game, I mean, every ball that could bounce their way did. We were trying to clear balls, it would rebound off them and off the post and things like that. And it was like, I don't think anything's going to go for us today. And I don't think really anything did, if I'm honest. I think at times we might have got a bit lucky with a couple of blocks, but it was what you imagine of a away game to a Chelsea or a Liverpool. I talked about it. I said, some reason I feel like footballing gods are against us, the way the ball bounces, and it does. I mean, I don't think playing out from the back we were very good. Vicario looked very nervous on the ball yesterday. It wasn't great. I thought Mickey and Romero on the ball, very solid, actually. The amount of times that Romero was playing, like Romero does, play through the lines, and we actually took out 4 or 5 players of their press, and we were away. But, we did absolutely nothing with that ball once we got through there. Obviously, the goal itself is poor defending from the back post by Mickey and Destiny. I saw flashes of some stuff from Destiny yesterday that I was promised by, and then I saw some stuff that I was like, oh, that's more of the Destiny of what we've seen this season. He looked tired at the end of the game. He definitely did. I thought Jed, he made a few mistakes, which, hey, it turned out that we got a bit lucky with how we defended from them. A few saves, a few blocks, but for the most part was very, very good. He was asked to really play out from the back and beat his own man at times and things like that. The midfield, I thought that was probably Bentancur's one of his better games this season. I thought actually he played quite well. Romero obviously hot-headed, runs into Colwell, sort of handbags, take off from there, and everyone's trying to break it up, and then obviously Bentancur comes out of nowhere and he just gets in the face. He just gets in the face of the Chelsea players, in Chalobah and things like that. And I saw more fight from Romero and Bentancur in just that one pocket of time than I have seen from most of these players all year. I thought Bergvall looked a little bit spent, if I'm honest. He did look a little bit spent. I thought going forward was really solid, but defensively wasn't switched on enough. The amount of times that players would run away from him and he wouldn't track them, things like that. Like I said, going forward, solid. The press, solid. Good on the ball. The amount of times he would, that last touch before a tackle comes in and sets like Odebear away or he sets someone else away. But yeah, defensively, the reason he was brought off because defensively they were getting in and around him. Just a tough day for the office defensively. It happens. He's a child in terms of football. Maddison, when he got a bit of space, was picking out a few passes and what have you, but really didn't. I was hoping he'd get on the ball a lot more. He just didn't get on the ball. Front three, Slanky doing the graveyard shift again. I don't know why we don't play a little bit more into Slanky long ball wise. Because the amount of times he is holding up the ball, he does beat his centre back. He's not going to win every single duel. That's impossible, literally impossible. But when he did win it and he spun the defender, we were right then, right, bang, we're on the back four. It's 3-on-3. Let's go. We didn't really do that. And I don't think we used his skill set enough. I thought Odegaard was lively. It just wasn't his day, if I'm honest. And Son, I thought for about the first 30 minutes was a complete and utter passenger. Um, his work rate is just fallen off a cliff. Is it the travel to South Korea and back? I don't know what it is, but it seemed like his sort of energy levels have sort of dipped a little bit. Obviously, had probably the best chance of the game. I am coming to the Pape situation in a minute. Best chance of the game. Johnson obviously ball across. It's one of those that I guess had it been sort of like an extra half a yard, sort of more pulled back towards Sonny, he probably does score that chance. But we're talking about fine margins. They could have had a few. So I'm not going to pin it on that. Let's talk about I've already talked about their goal. Let's talk about our goal. Obviously, it is a foul, by the way. Pape has kicked him in the knee. It's a foul. The fact that it took that many minutes to get a decision is frankly inept, appalling, and just awful refereeing. You shouldn't be refereeing a match if you can't spot that foul. It's not a red card. It's absolutely not. I just watched James Tarkowski nearly destroy someone's leg. It's not a thumbs up. It's more of a thumbs down, isn't it? Watch James Tarkowski nearly absolutely annihilate someone's leg. Like, it's not a red. He brushes his knee. So it is absolutely a foul. I've no issue in that, by the way. It is a foul. It shouldn't have been given. It shouldn't have taken that long. But one of the key things that I did in my preview said, target that keeper. He will make mistakes for you. And lo and behold, we shot from distance from 25 yards out. It's a really naff shot, if I'm honest. Vicario saves that. Any competent keeper saves that. And Flappy Bird flaps at it and it goes in. So even though it got disallowed, I was thinking, right, you all of you on that pitch, everyone in this stadium has just witnessed that. Can we all agree just to start shooting from distance now? Because he can't handle it. He hadn't made any real saves up until that point. A couple of rebounded P-rollers to him that you could save, I could save, my dog could probably save, and he's scared of footballs. The only time we gave him a real shot before that save at the end was that one, and he absolutely made a meal of it. So, yeah, we didn't really do enough in terms of attacking the keeper. Look, it wasn't good enough. Obviously, the Ange cupping his ears. I don't know what to make of it. I know some people were very unhappy about it. I know some people going, it wasn't that bad. I'm somewhere in the middle. He shouldn't do it, but it is also, I don't really think it's that bad. I mean, he gets called a fat Aussie C word by our fans all the time, and things like that. So he shouldn't have done it. I agree. I think some of our fans are extremely entitled. I think some of our fans, and look, I'm not Ange, by the way. So if you're thinking, sitting here watching me going, he's an Ange supporter, I'm not actually Ange. Okay. But our fan base is massively entitled. Okay. And they need to get their heads out of their own asses. I tweeted out yesterday, Spurs fans must be so fun at parties. They must be the worst people to have at a party. You must go, who do you support? Spurs. Can you just leave? Because you're going to bring down the vibes, mate. You're just going to be miserable. You're probably going to verbally abuse someone at some point. But look, Sunday's game, there has to be a reaction. And what I don't mean by that is you win 2-0. No, not 2-0. That's not a fair one. Because a clean sheet, you're always happy with a clean sheet. But a 2-1, that I don't think would nearly do enough to ease the tension at the club. I think you need to go out this weekend and win 3-1, 4-0, 4-1, something like that. You have to do that because going into really the biggest 2 weeks of the season, obviously we play by this time in 2 weeks' time, we will know if our season is basically finished or not. The Europa League campaign, we will know in 2 weeks' time. Okay. No, I'm not. Look, I don't say. I think again. Yeah, I think my words sometimes get misconstrued. I'm not saying they shouldn't be entitled to want, good football and some success. I think there are some fans that are extremely entitled in terms of I pay this money, so I'm allowed to say whatever I want to you. That's entitlement. That's not acceptable. You don't. It doesn't make you a great fan. It really doesn't. It makes you absolutely bottom of the barrel in terms of a fan. You're not a fan, actually. You're just someone who just goes to shout abuse at people. You know, be unhappy result. Be unhappy with the team. You know, I even saw people going. Andrew's hanging around at the halfway line. I'm like, he's literally shaking hands with people. Do you want them to go? Can everyone come over here? I want to shake all your hands in front of the fans. No, he's shaking hands with players around the halfway line because the game kind of finished around that area. People reach for some things too much. And looking at Twitter last night, I went on Twitter today and I was like, I wonder if people have just sort of, just chilled out a bit. Not to say that they should be unhappy. I'm unhappy with the result, but you know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's a Friday. Spurs don't play today. Can we just kind of, enjoy it? I mean, it's bloody booming out there today. Just enjoy some weather and just go touch some grass, get outside. No, no, no. It's gotten even worse. Don't if you are a Twitter user and you haven't opened up Twitter today, do not go on there. It's not worth your time. The people on there aren't worth your time. All right. But anyway, we're going to forget about the game. I've talked about it for 12 minutes. We're forgetting about the game. We need to move on now. That game was yesterday. We have a game coming up in 2 days' time that I want to talk about. The way fans treat Ange about the non-football things is disgusting. Calling fact, yeah, exactly. Exactly. You can think Ange is a bad manager, right? You can think that. That's an opinion, and that's not even rude. But when you call him fat and you are doing things like that, that's just abuse. That's not funny. If you are one of those people that does mention his weight and things like that, by all means, see yourself out the door. I don't want to know about you as a person. I can promise you, if I put a mirror in front of you, you wouldn't be very happy with yourself because normally the people who project are so unhappy with themselves. All right. We'll never move forward as a club if we keep piling on 20 plus years of resentment onto players and staff who just got here. I don't know how to say your name. There's so much that needs to change from all the way up there and all the way down. And by the way, all the way down to the bottom, I don't call the fans the bottom of the barrel, but some of the fans' attitude needs to change as well. Ownership, there's issues. Coaching situation, there's currently issues. The playing staff, massive issues. And fans, there's just issues across the board. There's divisiveness. There is separations in the fan base. There's so many issues. I can't pinpoint to any one of those groups having anything truly positive about them. The odd player or two, like your Bergvals and Grays, great, but for the most part, it's rubbish. Fans, rubbish, if I'm honest. Ownership, naff, coaching situation, it's all naff. And people who are sitting there going, change your manager, that'll sort it. And it's like, that's not going to sort it because we have 2 decades of evidence to say it won't sort it. Mourinho, absolute big time winner, has won anything you could possibly imagine in world football when he is their manager. Come Spurs, didn't win anything. Conte, he's won a double in the Premier League. He won the Premier League and the FA Cup. Yes, he's crap in Europe. I get that. But, he's won the Serie A. He's won the Coppa Italia. He's managed international stages. Didn't win anything at Spurs. Nuno's third in the Premier League right now. Took a promoted Wolves side who had spent a lot of money for the Championship, made them above mid-table. I think they were like an 8th, 9th finish quite frequently. I wouldn't say Pochettino because I don't think it's very fair to say, well, he's won Ligue 1. I mean, it's Ligue 1. All right, you're PSG. If you don't win it, that's a problem. If you do win it, well done. That's mandatory. Tuchel did it. Big whoop. So, Levinek will sell up if the right money comes in. But problem is, the club makes so much money. The value of the club goes up every single year. So, if it's crazy. Said in a meeting the other day, I was a Spurs fan and the whole room sighed. Thing is, Kingdom, no one banters you. Everyone just goes, mate, wow, I feel for you. That's what the situation has become. That's how far we've fallen. But let's talk about Southampton. Right. So, Southampton at home this weekend is, for me, a prime opportunity to players playing like Archie Gray in the midfield. I want to see Archie Gray at 6 playing that game. And I don't want people to think, well, he's young. Oh, Southampton last season, right? Southampton last season, how did they come up to the Premier League? They came up in the playoff final against Leeds. So Southampton Leeds, very, very similar in ability last season. He can play 6 against Southampton, not a problem. I want to see a little bit of Archie Gray on Sunday. All right. I want to see Archie Gray a little bit on Sunday. I want to see Matisse Tell start on Sunday. Oh, Matisse Tell's rubbish. All right, Mike, James, Tom, Dick, and Harry. I don't care who you are. Chill out. All right. He's a 19-year-old kid. Has he had a fair rub of the green so far? No. Let's see what we got in him. Yeah. You play him at the weekends. You play Pedro Porro at the weekends. Shockingly, Pedro looked like he cared yesterday. I also don't want to see Heung-Min Son or Maddison take set pieces for a little while. Couldn't beat the first man with corners, and Maddison's firing every free kick into the wall. I'd like to see Pedro Porro be taking all set pieces from now on, personally. Give him a chance. I haven't seen him take real free kicks yet. I've seen evidence that he can do it. Please just let him take set pieces from now on. Give the other 2 a rest. Just focus on your football. Just focus on your football in open play. Let Pedro deal with set pieces. Okay? Because the crosses into the box yesterday weren't very good either. Johnson had a really good one, obviously for Sonny's chance. Pedro Porro is the only one that whips in any real quality at the moment. Pedro, set pieces are yours, mate. I don't want Maddison pushing him away. I don't want to see anything like that. Pedro to take the set pieces for me. I want to see him. Ben Davies, I'd expect to start this weekend. I'd expect to start because obviously midweek game, I would hope one of the centre-backs that played yesterday isn't going to start on Sunday. He'll be on the bench if necessary, but I expect Davies and Romero to start. Obviously, Big Kev is still out injured. That's another thing. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. But I hope to see Matisse Tell. Massively hope to see Matisse Tell. Is he going to play striker? Will they give Solanke a little bit of rest? I don't know. Can Richarlison give you half an hour at the weekend? Because if he can, play Solanke for 60, put in Richie for half an hour, off you go. Give Matisse Tell. I ignore the thumbs up. I don't know why that's. Don't know. I wasn't giving you one. All right. I wasn't giving you one. Steve. So it's the first name I looked at. How about you, Steve, by the way? Is the next owner worse? It can be worse, absolutely. I mean, Man United went from the Glazers to Ratcliffe. It's basically the same thing. But at least Glazers spent the money the club made at some point. Ratcliffe's trying to cut all that back. But look, hopefully Richie can give you some minutes. I'd like to see a little bit more of Odebear. Sort of 60 minutes of Odebear. You then bring John on for half an hour. That's kind of my thinking for this game. Midfield is, I've just said Gray, Pape. Because I thought Bentancur actually played fairly all right yesterday. I thought that was more of a Bentancur performance that we'd all been waiting for. Defensively solid, good in the tackle, good with pressing with the ball. Didn't really give away the ball ever. I thought actually it was a solid performance by Bentancur. I saw people saying that he was no good. I think he wasn't one of our big concerns, if I'm honest. But I would like that Bentancur to play next Thursday. So give him some time rest. Bring him in for next Thursday against Frankfurt. I would play Gray at the 6. So that would be my replacement. I'd put Gray in at the 6. Bentancur, take it. That's another thumbs up. You're welcome for another. I'm flying with them this morning. I don't know why. I'm not even doing them. I'm going to hold my thumbs from now on. I'm thumbless. But I'd have Pape in that midfield. He looked lively when coming on. And this is kind of the issue that I found this season is that a lot of our players who have struggled starting the games have come on, 60th minute or 70th minute. They've looked really good. And you're like, oh, he'll start the next game. And guess what? He'll stink up the gaff for the next game. And it's like, oh, you're killing me. But hopefully, Gray and Pape, lots of energy, lots of energy. I hope to see though the one thing with Gray that I did struggle a little bit with against Bournemouth, I think it was, is at times that he was a little bit too safe. I'm going to get the ball, take it sideways, play it behind me to the fullback. No, get the ball. You got a bit of time. I'm going to ping a pass forward. Pedro's over there. Bang, off it goes. Don't slide it back to Romero. No, bang, off it goes. That's what I'd want to see from him. Think, yeah. So my team that I would go for, I'd go Vicario. I would go Spence and Porro. I'd go Ben and Romero. I'd go Gray, Pape. Will he go Bergval instead of Madison? Obviously, Kulu won't be back. Gray or will he go Bergval? Madison. I mean, Madison saying that it's difficult to go to the away fans when you're getting pelters. It's like, sorry, Matters. I'm probably going to agree with some of the. Look, pelters in terms of negativity. Buckle up, Buckaroo. You're going to have to deal with it. Abuse, don't I'm not. If those fans are abusing me, I wouldn't be going over to Clapham. No way. But if they are just going, look, mate, you were crap today. You hold your hands up and go, well, we lost in a London derby and we were woeful. I probably deserve to be told I was crap today. Now, if it gets to abuse, that's different. But but yeah, I would probably maybe go Bergval, who only played 60. Maybe that's the route that I would go with that. And then the front three, I would go Tell, Solanke, and Odebear. And also, the one thing I would love to see more of, and this is maybe something that we won't see, but I would like to see it with a Tell and Odebear who can play a little bit of right and can play a little bit left. I would love to see them in the game. Just, we're going to switch for 10 minutes. We're going to switch for 10 minutes. And mixing it up. I think sometimes we get a bit too stagnant. Chelsea do it. City do it. They change in-game quite frequently. Obviously, Arsenal don't because, well, Saka's a very good right winger. And, when he's playing, they're much better. They've struggled with their left wing a little bit. But I would like to see, because they have the ability to mix and match, I'd like to maybe see that a bit more just to freshen the game up. Game's a bit stagnant. Nothing's really happened from the wing. Switch him over. See if that does anything. The issue is Son is not really a right winger. That's kind of you're limiting yourself. But I hope to see I don't want to see Son start at the weekend. I think he is struggling at the moment. Form potentially struggling. You have him as an option on the bench. Personally, I would have him on the bench. That's it. But I want to see. For me, the other key thing is a lot of these players are going to be playing for their future now. Got a handful of games. A lot of these players are going to be playing for their future. Richarlison, for example, got to stay fit to the end of the season, got to put in regular minutes because we want Solanke to get rest. If we want Europa League success, Solanke needs to stay fitter and fresher. Well, that means Richarlison has to play more. If he can't handle it, it's cut. You cut ties and just go, we're not going to make 30 odd million and then we're going to make 15 million. Go. Just move them on. Players like maybe Bissouma features at some point frequently through this period. And maybe he does quite well. You go, oh, let's think about it. For me, obviously, he's gone, but I'm just saying you play for your future. Ben Davies, potentially. I think you have to have a question mark surrounding some other players that are playing for their future. Hell, even Matisse Tell, technically, he's playing for a future. Doesn't mean he's going to be here or not, but you know what I mean. So, look, there's a lot of things that needs to be happening this weekend. We obviously played them, though, earlier on this season. We won 5-0. It was like one of those games where we watched it. I think we were like 3-0 up in 14 minutes, I think it was. And it was like, oh God, when we're on, we are the dogs, what hangs between his legs. Can't say it because of monetization. But you get what I mean. I was like, oh, we actually are unreal. And there's been games this season, you go, Jesus Christ, we're absolutely unreal. This needs to be another one of those games. I'm not saying we're to win 5-0, but if we won 3-0 and we're comfortable, I think people go, okay, look, not great in the week, not good enough. We can't have that again. This was more like it. Now we got to do it on Thursday. You're not going to get people buying in, but you'll get people just to step back from the edge of the ledge to say, okay, let's see what you got on Thursday now. And if you go out on Thursday and you get a really good result, people will go 1 foot into the next round. We got to go. We got to go again, you know. Um, Here's some stats for you about Spurs and Southampton. None of Tottenham's last 15 Premier League home games against Southampton has finished level. Spurs have won 12 and lost 3. We've scored in all 15 of those games, while Southampton have scored in 8, so basically 1 in every 2. Southampton have won just 1 of their last 7 Premier League games against Spurs. They've drawn 2 and lost 4. They beat us 3-2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Feb 2022. Tottenham won the reverse fixture against Southampton 5-0 in December, with all 5 goals coming in the first half. Jesus, was it that? All 5 were in the first half. Bloody hell. It was the 5th time Spurs have scored 5 goals in the Premier League match against Southampton, with no side doing so against a specific opponent more often. Tottenham have won 1 of their last Premier League matches. We've drawn 3 and lost 6 at home. Oh, picking up just 6 points across their 10 games at Tottenham Stadium. Beforehand, they won 7 of 10 and picked up 21. So before that, doing all right. After that, awful. That needs to start turning around. All right. Across their last 18 Premier League matches, Southampton have collected just 5 points. They've won 1, they've drawn 2, and lost 15. And their one win was at fellow promoted club Ipswich in February. Southampton this season, they've won 2 games in 30. They've drawn 4 and lost 24. They've scored only 22 goals in 30 games, and they've conceded 71. They've got 10 points in 30 games. So they don't even score 1 goal per game, and they concede nearly 2.5 a game. Now, obviously, Spurs probably made a huge part of that, 5-0. That makes a massive impact. But I tell you what, if Spurs come out of this 2-1, that's, I think, a bit of a failure of result. Obviously, it's a great 3 points, brilliant, happy days. But I feel like this game has to have a good performance. This game has to have a good, not only a good one, but a big performance. You know, we probably could do with getting a couple of players on the score sheet who have been, struggling a little bit. Let's get Dom on the score sheet, and things like that. But for me, this needs to be 3-0, something like that. Comfortable. Even if it's like 3-1, I could take 3-1 happily. You win by at least a couple. You dominate the game. Maybe they get a bit of a fluky goal, and you sort of just go, you chalk it up and go, it is what it is. But this is a game where Spurs need to go out there and win by multiple. They need to control the game. They need to play more of an Ange ball style of thing. But, reality is this game feels massively pivotal in towards the Frankfurt doubleheader. Frankfurt, obviously, Thursday night. You win this game. You win comfortably. The mood's not going to get... The mood's not going to be perfect. The mood's not going to change massively. But the loudness of the fans will just dip ever so slightly. So the players, maybe they feel like they need more of an arm around them from the Spurs fans. That might get them that. Go out there and dominate. Win well. Spurs fans will go, you didn't ruin my weekend. I'll take that at least for once. And the loudness just dips a little bit. All right? Obviously, there's a protest this weekend. That will obviously be loud. We know about that. But at least on the pitch, it won't be loud. You win the game well. 2-0 up half-time. That stadium, that'll be well on board with you. They'll go 2-0 at half-time. Happy days. Let's support these players. Let's go grab another couple. Let's win 4-0. If you win 4-0, for example, you will get a lot of people going, that's a good day at the office. Need more of that, though. That doesn't make up for what we've seen so far, but it's a start. Let's go again Thursday. Another positive result, And I think it's crazy, this is the perfect game to lead into the Frankfurt first leg. You're at home for both of them, so you're not having to travel. Frankfurt play Saturday evening at 5:30. So they're going to have a little bit more rest, but obviously they've got to fly, so it probably evens out a little bit. But you're at home. Get those fans in that stadium on board with you, right? Good result. Get them on board with you. You then go Thursday night. They're still on board with you. They're still backing you. This is a huge linchpin. This is a launch pad, potentially. That's what I'm trying to be positive about. I've got nothing to hold on to at the moment. And I'm just thinking, win this game, win it the way you should. You never know what can happen. It might do absolutely nothing. It might do nothing for you. But a part of me holds on and goes, but what if it did something for you? Maybe it doesn't rectify this season. And maybe it doesn't change people's opinions on Ange. But does it change people's opinion going, Thursday night, Frankfurt? Let's just see what happens. Because a lot of people right now are going, we're out. We're not going through. That's third in the Bundesliga. They'll deal with us. Deep dive into the stats. They're not as strong as you think they are. Okay? They're not. I promise you. When I do my preview on Tuesday next week, you'll see they're not as strong as you think they are. I did some research this morning. I think maybe that's what's given me a little bit of a you never know kind of attitude. But the players have got to earn it. The players, they go, we're getting pelters from the fans. The players have got to earn it. You've got to go out there and you've got to perform, you know. So we'll sort of see. Luke with a super chat, absolute legend. Bergvall was awful off the ball last night. Had a couple of driver runs and some fans are raving about his performance. Luke, I mentioned it. I thought defensively wasn't switched on enough. There's a couple of times where, Palmer sort of spun off of him and Enzo sort of spun off from him. Wasn't switched on from crosses as well. The other thing I noticed, but more of the underlapping runs. Players sort of, he's not switched on, I can do this, and going, and he didn't go with them, and he definitely gave up some chances from that. I thought with the ball, solid for sure, but I don't think it was one of his better performances. I thought the substitution probably was about right, if I'm honest. But honestly, super chat, you bloody legend, Luke. You bloody legend. Gonna go Steve's normal score lines 5-0. Don't follow Steve. Don't follow Steve. It's a poison chalice. It's like the Spurs job. If we lose, we're cooked for Thursday. What I want to know is what positive result the protest will have on the team. I can't see it doing anything but hindering us. It's not really against the team and the manager even. It's more so just against the ownership. And these players don't really like the ownership. So, you had Matisse Tell literally look our owner directly in the eyes and go, I don't want to come to your football club. And Ange had to go, Jesus Christ, I've got my memory bank charger. I'll deal with this. Get out of the way, Daniel. So it's more about them than it is the player. What impact it will have on us, I really don't know. You would hope the players understand the fans. We go from being fifth, nearly in the Champions League, to 14th. Yes, we're in the Europa League, but if you go out of the Europa League, what have you got to show for this season? Hence why we're all still sort of holding on to this hope of, can the Europa League save us? We won't beat Southampton, not a chance. I really don't want to make of the mistake. I really don't want to make the mistake of Iriola. Yeah, do you know what, Caleb? I might do a little video on we've been linked with Marcus Silva, Iriola, Thomas Frank. I think Xavi's a distant fourth now. I don't think he's a real option. I don't know why. I just don't think he is. And, Inzaghi won't happen because Paratici is going to go back to Italy. He's going to be the Milan head of football, you might call it, or managing director or director of football, whatever you want to call it. So you're not going to be going for Serie A managers, I very much doubt. It won't be, even Motta. Motta's free now, but like Motta doesn't need to work. Motta's like, I'm getting paid crazy amounts of money to sit on my backside. So, yeah. You have a theory that is that the toxic fans are the fans who go to away games. I know a few of the rabid channels are at every away game. Yeah. Hey, Gibbo, how are you, mate? Has to be Southampton has to be a route just for a bit of confidence, but it's bleak at the moment. Solanke isn't getting the type of service now. Yeah, Solanke's doing graveyard shifts. We don't seem to play. I think we should play way more into Solanke now, even if it doesn't work out all that often. Get him more engaged. Don't make him run around like a headless chicken, just pressing. Get the ball into him. It's what I watched Liverpool against Everton the night before. And Jota. So Jota is a lot smaller than Solanke. And what I was watching was Liverpool weren't really creating any chances through the wide areas, right? They were struggling to beat their men. The fullbacks, like especially Mikalenko, was super tight to Salah, so Salah couldn't stand him up and run at him. So they changed it up and they started playing into Jota, who quick touches, spinning defenders, and they opened up the team. So maybe that's what I want to see more of in for Solanke is playing to his feet a bit more. He's got a pretty good link-up play. Let him do some one-touch stuff. I think Kulu does that a little bit. I think that's why Kulu's had some success. More from Maddison, in my opinion, needs to happen from there. You'd love to send you over my analysis of Xavi would be perfect for us. Caleb, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or are you in the Discord? I don't know. One of those two would be good if you could. Scott, how are you, my friend? Big up to all, absolutely. So look, for me, this weekend, I think Spurs will win. This is a team that concede 2.5 per game. They don't even score one. So I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs. We're poor. We are. Not even going to deny it. No one can deny that we're good at the moment. No one can deny that we're not poor. But Southampton are really, really crap. They are. No offense, Southampton. Got no beef with the club. None. But 10 points in 30. 2 wins all season. Don't even score a goal a game. They've scored 22 in 30. 3-1 is what I'm going to go for. Do you know, even if we won, right, 2-0, 2-1, no, sorry, no, 2-0, sorry, 2-0. Even if we won 2-0, right, and you think, oh, God, this is a team that you should score multiple against. Yeah, but if it's 2-0 and they completely control the game, don't really give up any chances, create quite a few chances, and maybe the shooting boots were left at home a little bit, I'd probably take that. Because I'm thinking, well, as long as you're controlling games, it doesn't matter. You know, that's what's going to help you win in the end. But for me, I think they need to be scoring multiple. Like 3 is my minimum. If they score more, brilliant. But 3 for me is where I'm at. They need to be leading at halftime as well. Like you go into the second half and it's like, oh, if we're not leading, those fans won't be those fans won't be on board with you. They'll be on your backs. So, give also something the fans to shout about. That's the other thing. Give something for them to shout about. Go 1-0 up in 15. I think we've scored like the most goals in the first 15 minutes this season. I think I saw a stat yesterday. Do it again. Grab another goal in the first 15 minutes, right? Even if it's just one. Those fans will go, we're on board. Let's go grab another. And if you were 2-0 up at half time, Jesus Christ, you will get those fans right on board with you. Even if they're Ange out, Levy out even, they will be on board with you. Give him something to latch onto. Give him something to get behind, He does so much work, but yeah, exactly. Spurs need to win 4-0. Odegaard played 10-2. Yeah, that's the thing, Callum. After yesterday, watching Odegaard on the right, and maybe it wasn't going the way you wanted to, because Son is very much only a left winger / a bit of a striker. They can't switch wings, and that's why I'm hoping Tell and Odegaard start. Switch wings after 15 minutes. If it's not going the way you want it to, try something a bit different. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're just asking 2 wingers to switch and just see what you get. We lost to Leicester though, same as Leicester and Ipswich. Look, lads, I'm not denying it, but I'm also not going to think about 2 teams that I'm not playing. 2 teams that we're not playing this weekend. My attitude is this: if you've been watching me, I use a poker analogy. All right, I'm down on my chips. I'm the big blind. I have to go all in because that's what the big blind is. I have to go all in. I've got to play the hand that I'm dealt, and I've got to do something with it. So this weekend, we got Southampton. It's the best possible opportunity to build some form and to build some momentum. Go and do that. Win a small pot. Going to get a few chips back. Frankfurt, you have to go all in for Frankfurt. It's a 2-legged affair. Just saying though, going into that game off of the back of a pretty naff performance, who's going to have any confidence? Going into that game with a good performance, people might go, do you know what? We might have a chance here. And that's all we can hope for, is to go, let's see how the chips fall. Let's see how the cards fall. All right? I might get pocket aces in my next hand. I also might get a 7-2. 7-2 is a crap hand, by the way. If you're not aware, 7-2 is a really bad hand in poker. I need to see Ange Ball again. Yeah, well, we normally get Ange Ball in Europe. That's the irony. So maybe we will. But this weekend's not Europe, and I need to see it in the Premier League. Great, half a game, and we won't see Bergval this game. I think we will see Bergval. I think he'll play. I think he'll play the 10 role. I think Maddison will be on the bench. 7-2 knows the Jeremy Beadle. Well, you come to Inside Spurs to talk football, to talk Tottenham, and you learn about poker. You're bloody welcome on this channel. You're bloody welcome, honestly. But look, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm finishing up before 12 o'clock, and in office spaces and Teams and Zoom calls, we give you a few minutes back to go and enjoy the rest of your mornings, afternoons, and evenings. Look after yourselves. I'll be back tomorrow to talk more Spurs. Might even do a little bit of a deep dive into potential managers. Caleb, I don't know if you're still here. Join the Discord. Send it over in here. Let me copy the link. And if you are new, if you want to join the Discord, we chat every day in there about Tottenham. Join us. You're free to. It doesn't cost you a penny. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me this morning, everyone. Look after yourselves. Go and enjoy the rest of your sun if you're in England. And if you're not, enjoy the rest of your mornings, afternoons, evenings, wherever in the world. And I'll speak to you all a little bit soon to talk a lot more about Spurs. Take care, everyone. Peace.